anybody else who purports to say that this is not a decrease, to increase the allocation, to ensure that we don't have half the hours, half the allocation, cut the jobs. And I will say, finally, the only way that we will continue this protest is by sticking together. And everybody here tonight should say, clap themselves on the back for turning up here and showing this government that we're not prepared to sit down and take these reductions or any suggested reductions in the future. We will be together. We should all stick together because this is the most vulnerable sector. So let's stick together and once and for all let the government know the true feelings. And your children are the people that need the care. And the SNAs are there to provide that care, but they can only do it when they're employed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Desi. Now, as we're getting near the end of the evening, I'd like to call upon Paddy Connolly from Inclusion Ireland to address the meeting. I mean, this fight will continue. This is not the end of it. There will be more. So watch this space for future events. So over to you, Paddy.
Thanks, Pat. I was one of the people who met Minister Rory Quinn today, and as Breda said, this is a cut that should never have happened. This wasn't a mistake, it wasn't an error, it was an absolute attack on families. And it's not the first attack on families of children with disabilities by this government. We've seen a series of government mistakes, sometimes reversals, but a constant and consistent erosion of the support that children and families with disabilities need. This is a major concern. One of the points we made to Rory Quinn is that while education may act in one area, health is acting somewhere else, the Department of Justice is acting somewhere else, social protection is acting somewhere else. There is no cross-cutting communication at government department level. So little cuts have been made, large cuts have been made that are constantly eroding the supports to families. Respite, PA, mobility allowance, SNAs, resource hours, the list goes on, personal assistance, the list goes on and on. This government is the government that just keeps on taking a dig here and a dig there from different government departments. When you meet with them then they talk about their own little square, as if they've no responsibility for the rest of their colleagues. There isn't any communication at senior government level across departments on the issue of disability. We have a junior minister for disabilities who is committed, energetic, etc. But once you go above her to senior minister level, there is little or no communication or contact. That is a major, major problem. There hasn't been a significant, I think there's been about 4 statements by senior ministers on the issue of disability in the lifetime of this government. That gives you an indication of how important it is to this government. They definitely fear, we were here with 5,000 people before the last budget, they definitely fear disability protests. They definitely fear the power of families when we work together. They definitely fear organisations like ourselves, Down Syndrome, Irish Autism Action, Special Needs Parents Association, the list goes on. They definitely fear when we work together, and that has to be our sole aim, to work together to keep the, because we are part of a competition with other interest areas. We have to represent our area as strongly as we can by staying united and working together. It's not about organisations, it's not about personalities, it's about children with disabilities, it's about their family members. That's what is the core of this for all of us. The second issue we said to the Minister was the full implementation of the EPSIN Act, to stop this piecemeal lack of planning, this stumbling from one crisis to the next. Fully implement the EPSIN Act, which would give children a statutory right to a service, a statutory right to assessment and a statutory right to appeal. The third point we made to the Minister was the gap between his level and the NCSE, the National... Call it out for me. Thanks, Pat. The NCSE, the Minister, and what actually happens on the ground. There is a major gap between the reality on the ground for schools, for teachers, for parents, and what actually happens at departmental level. There's a chasm there that we have to fill with information. And when Lorraine referred earlier on to us engaging with the department and with the Minister, that's what it's about. It's about us bringing the real lived experience to ministers and senior policy makers who look at a spreadsheet of costs and say, where can we make a saving? We have to bring in the lived reality for people and for children with disabilities. And the final point we made to the Minister was the divisive, destructive and corrosive nature of this type of approach to the needs of family and children with disability. The danger of setting off parents against parents and schools against schools, where you're competing for resources, where parents with children who have not got a disability and parents with children with disability feeling that their children are going to be worse off. That's what's going to be the legacy of this government, that divisive, corrosive impact on society and the collectiveness of parents and schools together. We are a community. We have to stay together as a community. And it's up to us to work together and to keep groups coordinated and to take the personality and egos out of the room. It's about children with disabilities, it's about their families, and we need to work together on that. Thank you very much, Pat.